The meeting of the Public Safety Committee on this Thursday, October 27th. It's a meeting of the Public Safety Committee.
Oh, this?
Counselor, would you just call our roll, please?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Clay?
Present.
Beston is excused. Mr. Commisso?
Here.
Demolowitz?
Here.
Epicoro?
Yeah.
Ethier is excused. Mr. Collins?
Here.
Lockhart?
Here.
And Ward?
Here.
7 present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Counselor. Thank you all for being here. May we have a motion to approve the previous minutes, please?
And Ms. Lockhart needs to be
A
heard.
moment, Mr. Chairman. Just a correction on the minutes I made.
Okay?
I think the whole time I've been here, there's only been one other time, so you do it well. On page 6, is it? Yeah, number 6. The
Okay.
proposal was actually tabled one motion.
Yes, it was tabled on motion, and it was opposed by Ms. Lockhart and Mr. Collins. So that is correct. So you can move to approve the minutes as amended. We'll make those corrections.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, may I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second? Motion's made, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Do you want to move, start with number 9?
Excuse me?
Do you want to start with number 9 for the sheriff?
Okay.
Just want to see.
All right. Item 9 is authorizing an agreement with the United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance regarding reimbursement for the incarceration of criminal aliens and amending the 2022 Sheriff's Office budget.
Good evening.
Good evening, Sheriff. How are
Nice to see
you?
everybody in person, my first meeting back.
Yeah. Where you been anyway?
On Zoom.
Oh,
In that little
okay.
box, in that little box.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is, we initially projected roughly 25,000 for the, this is the, basically, we can only use it for inmates. It has to better the lifestyle of the inmate in the county jail, whether it's through a vehicle purchase, a safer vehicle, or a program, or a laptop, whatever the case may be. We projected 25,000, we got 17,686. Permission to accept it.
I have a question now.
Yes, go ahead, Gary.
These are for the inmates?
Yes.
So we're buying laptops for
No,
inmates?
these are for the criminal aliens that we take for Homeland Security. This money goes towards basketballs, whatever the case may be, anything to that effect.
This is federal money? we're
Yes. It's a reimbursement for housing some of theirs.
getting? No match by us?
No.
So only the criminal aliens can use the basketball.
Could be a TV, could be a basketball, could be a set of weights, whatever.
We gotta keep them comfortable.
Sheriff, how much do we realize from this?
17,686.
17,006.
Motion to move.
Second.
Motion's made, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, thank you.
Item 10 is amending the 2022 Sheriff's Office budget for year-end adjustments.
Mr. Chairman, this is to shift around some monies to pay our bills and to meet the year end. It's kind of a cleanup for us where we have some extra monies. We're filling in some voids on the law enforcement side of the house.
Okay,
Motion
questions?
voted.
Is there a need for
Motion's
that?
second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Item 11 is amending the 2022 Sheriff's Office budget for correctional facility expenditures.
Same thing, Mr. Chairman. This is on the correction side of the house, fill in some voids where we're going to go into the red if we don't shift some funds.
Motion move it.
Second.
Motions and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion's carried.
Item 12 is amending Resolution Number 192 for 2019 regarding the lease and delivery of Sheriff's Office patrol vehicles.
Mr. Chairman, this is more of a clerical cleanup. The money was budgeted appropriately, but when we came through initially for the RLA, we didn't have the correct numbers in here.
Motion move it.
Could I
There's a question.
not so much related to this, but the lease, how's that working out?
Awesome.
It is, okay.
We're nearing the end of our first lease. That's
Right,
why
that's
we
what I
need to
figured.
clean
Yeah.
this up so we can move into the next contract. We have not one issue. We lease around 20, 21 vehicles altogether. We still do purchase some, because I don't want to be beholden to Enterprise.
Sure.
But it's been working out great. Our maintenance is down as a result of, having just a 3 or 4 year old vehicle and not running it right into the ground. The vehicles have been good. Our biggest stumbling block right now is acquiring them. So in January, I'll come to you with the new lease, and we're told I can't get those vehicles to the beginning of '24. These vehicles we should make it without any problem. The interesting part of this lease that I like is at the end of it, we own the cars, and the residual value of it, I expect to get upwards well over 100,000 in the cars that we have that we'll be able to sell out. So this is the first time experiencing that because it's our first lease.
Sure.
So we're hoping that we'll get really good residual value at the end. A couple of them I may keep, such as like SRO cars. Right now, we just, they don't really need a patrol vehicle, they just need a marked police car. So a couple of them we're going to keep, assign them to the SROs so they can get to and from. But for the most part, it's been a great program.
So basically, for the most part, we're turning them in at the end of the lease and some you're buying out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't have to buy them out, we own them.
You own them,
Yeah.
okay.
The ones we turn in, those monies we'll be able to apply towards the new lease.
Got it.
So if we make 80,000 off of the sale of some of them, we can apply that, have them apply that to our bill.
Very good.
Okay, any other questions?
Motion.
Motions, may I have a second?
Second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, thank you.
And before the sheriff leaves, if we could move to number 4, local law I, this is the sheriff's wireless surcharge increase, just in case there are any questions while he's here. You and Bill Clay and Wanda Willingham are the prime sponsors.
Okay. Number 4,
It is the sheriff's
Yeah.
wireless surcharge increase. Mhm.
are
So,
there any questions relative to the sheriff, relative to that?
There's no comments.
no, there weren't.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and do we have a second? Who's second?
Gary?
Gary, second. Motion's made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion's carried.
Thank you, Sheriff, sorry.
Thank you. Before I leave, A, it was good to see you all, and B, we anticipate doing something with an open house at the new 911 center, probably in mid-November, and we anticipate we were going to start taking calls probably around Christmas time, but we got told today that our generator is going to be delayed till January. Obviously, I can't open it up without secondary power, but we will have an open house. I'd love for you to come out and look at it. We're right on target. We've met all our MWBE standards above and beyond than any other county project, and we're right on budget.
Okay. Yes,
Just one
ma'am.
other question for the chair, Mr. Chairman. How did the trunk or treat go with the kids? Did you
I'm
have a
going
good
to it
turnout?
right now.
Oh, is it tonight? Okay, good.
I'll let you know
Good time.
tomorrow.
Have fun. What are you
Sheriff,
going as?
One question before you go, not related to the menu here, but what's going on with the guns on the city streets?
It's bad. It's a horrible problem.
Is it, I
Listen,
mean, is the sheriff's department increasing in terms of picking up firearms?
I believe we're up to 22 so far this year. It's literally hit or miss. Sometimes we'll find it, sometimes we won't. But are they in the city? They're all over the city.
Yeah, I know.
Our patrols, I think our men and women are doing a great job. We're down in the city every single night, 7 days a week. Sometimes we do what I call like inflated patrols. We'll bring, a bunch of extras in. And I know some people love it and some people hate it, but we go back to, some of the very simple crimes that are being committed and overlooked. And those are what we're targeting, because I firmly believe when you let them go, we end up with a mess like we have. So, there's a lot of issues going on right now with youth, violence,
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons why today we got involved with, the holiday lights going out to Altamont, or, geez, I just drew a blank,
Altamont Fair.
Altamont Fair. So these programs have to keep going because those funds take care of 2,000 kids a day in the city of Albany. Where would those kids be? I would hate to imagine. And we need to keep some of these programs going. We need to invest in youth. We need to continue to, fund some of these youth programs and keep the kids off the streets, keep them reading, keep them, in sports. Without that, we're gonna be in for worse problems. And,
Yeah, well, let me thank you. Let me thank you for what your department is doing. And even just the visibility of the vehicles in the city of Albany goes a long ways. And I thank you for that. And please continue to do the good work. Gary?
Sheriff, just two things. Are our sheriff's department being dispatched by the Albany dispatchers?
no,
They're not. So everything we're doing on our own.
Our stuff is all proactive. We're not answering calls. We'll assist them if we hear, calls go out, especially calls with guns and things like that, emergency calls. We'll go and we'll back them up, or sometimes they may, we listen, we have their radio, well, their radios are ours. So we built that system. So, they back each other up, but for the most part, they're out there doing proactive patrol.
Okay, second, with the respect to the kids, nothing to do. I grew up in Arbor Hill in the 70s. We had basketball on Livingston Avenue. We had Arbor Hill Little League, Arbor Hill Babe Ruth. We had the CYO on First Street. So there was things to do. That's the problem. Albany dropped the ball on providing these services for the kids and the youth in the city, and you wonder why we got problems, because these kids got nothing to do. So I'm glad to see that they're gonna start to at least build a new center somewhere in the city. I hope down in South End. That's the problem. And that stuff was all going, it's been like that for years. And and the sheriff's 100% right. You gotta give these kids something to do.
Right?
When it's my turn on the agenda, I just wanted to mention that I've got local law M here, which targets illegal guns in the county, and I worked with Sheriff Apple on drafting this. So, I'm hoping we can move forward with this. But this is something that the sheriff and I work together with, and we'll see how successful it is.
We've got a good program in place, and I think between what Legislator Muriello is talking about, and I know Legislator Reedy's been in, we can come up with a good program to help try to, get some more guns off the street. And that's really what it's about. You know what? Politics aside, I don't really give a damn if you got an R or you got a D. We need to get the guns off the streets. And,
Absolutely.
I don't want to make it a political football, but I want to get the guns off the streets. People have a right to come outside their homes and feel safe. And a lot of people don't do that right now. They're holed up in their houses. I know I get calls. When our cars stop somebody, people come out and applaud. And it's like, we're kind of taken back because you know what? They're just out there doing their job. They're trying to keep people safe. But we have to get back to some of the basics. And things are, we're in an upside down world right now. How we write it, I have no idea, but we're going to continue to do what we always do, and we're not stopping, and we never have. Bail reform to us, do we agree with it? No, we don't agree with it. It needs some tweaks and changes. But it never stopped us from doing our job. COVID never stopped us from doing our job. Our men and women were out there every single day for the last 3-4 years doing what we do, and I couldn't be more proud of them. And that's why, I'll bring it up, it's contract time. And I really want to see these guys, get a good wage, and they're out there doing what a lot of people aren't.
Yeah, well, I would agree with you, Sheriff, and I'm sure this whole committee agree with you in terms of, the activities that you're doing, and thank you so much.
I think there are over 1,000 arrests in the city of Albany, just the
Yeah.
Albany patrols. But our overall call volume, I believe, is up 187%. I'll talk about that more next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Trunk or treat?
Our department calls. Have a great night.
Yes, thank you.
All right, item 8 is authorizing an agreement with the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services regarding reimbursement for raise the age implementation. Mr. Connors is here.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This is a renewal with DCJS for funding we received to provide services for Raise the Age youth. This contract period is from April 1st, 2021 through March 31st, 22. It was just approved in September 16th this year, and usually the state is behind in their approval. But it provides for programming that probation staff provide, as well as contracting with agencies in the area, and it provides staffing to provide services and supervision of the Raise the Age youth.
Any questions? Patty?
I've read some articles, mostly in the paper, that there aren't the services, enough services out there to really handle the numbers in the Raise the Age group. That probation is having a hard time, no through fault of their own, but there just isn't the resources or programs. Is that, do you find that in Albany County?
No, I don't find that true.
Not in Albany County, okay.
No, if you, I'd be
Yes, I
more than
can.
happy to review all of our programming with you if you give me more information on that. But we provide a lot of programming ourselves. I can go down and list a few of them. We provide BITS, it's brief interactive therapy. We provide decision points. We have a couple contracts with community providers, systematic therapy, PATH, a new program we started. I came a few months ago and asked you to approve a contract with Parsons. It also pays for electronic monitoring of youth. We've expanded our evening reporting center at LaSalle with this funding. We've also expanded our juvenile accountability board, and it also provides funding for respite for youth at St. Anne's. So I
Is
think
that for all ages, Bill, or is that
this money,
focused towards the 16, 17-year-old?
it is focused for raise the age, but we are able to use it in certain situations for 14 and 15-year-olds also.
Okay.
So raise the age youth is 16 to 17-year-olds. If they're committed a felony, they go to the new court that was authorized, adolescent offender court.
Right.
If they're arrested as a misdemeanor, they come straight to probation. But I'll give you some numbers quickly on raise the age. So this year, there's been 65 adolescent offenders arrested in Albany County, 8 juvenile offenders for a total of 73. And those all went directly to family court, and some of them were returned immediately to probation department for services. Some were sent to the county attorney to proceed as a petition.
Okay.
In addition to that, we received another 257 youth just arrested for juvenile delinquency in Albany County. So we receive all the kids that are arrested in Albany County.
Right.
So we have a couple divisions in our juvenile unit, and they kind of work off each other. The first unit is called our intake diversion. And that unit does everything they can to adjust the child. They meet with their family, provide services, keep that individual, the youth, from penetrating further into the system. Because we know the further he goes in the system, he'll be less successful, obviously. And the other unit is a family court. Many of the children go directly from family court as it's reduced from an adolescent offender, and those youth return to us back on a former probation sentence. And those probation sentences are for a year, or sometimes they can be extended for 2 years.
Right. All right, thank you. And for, you know, we have the secure detention facility, and they were expanding that for the raise the age, right? Are we okay in this county for our beds that are needed?
Well, there's generally a shortage of beds across the interstate.
Right.
At times, there's no female beds anywhere in the state. Many times, the Capital District Center is full with no beds. It's four counties are able to bring your youth there. And if there's any beds open, they contract with other counties throughout the state. If Albany County needs a bed, and if there's a bed taken up by a youth from a non-contract county, they're asked to remove that county.
Right.
But it doesn't happen until the next day. The problem is, when the police arrest a youth at night, sometimes there's nowhere locally to house the youth. It does happen quick. And they are moving towards doubling the size of the facility.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for indulging me, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions?
I have a quick question. So this is a multi-county program?
The Capital District Detention Center? Yes. So the detention center is owned by Albany County, and it's contracted for services. Berkshire Farm in Schenectady runs it, manages it, and they provide all the staffing there. The 4 counties that are contract are Albany, Schenectady, Saratoga, and Rensselaer, and there are several other counties across the state that have contracts that are able to house children there when beds are open.
We have like 7 beds. We got 7 beds?
No, there's 24 beds, and there's 3 female beds.
No, what's Albany County's contract?
Oh, 7 beds, yeah,
7.
yeah. I'm sorry, I thought you meant total, yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
I was
So-
on the committee to build
Yeah.
it.
So we're guaranteed those
So-
7 beds for
yeah.
our
Yes, we're getting these.
Some of the issues with are commingling. So
It's a big problem.
it's a big problem, and they have to be separated at the facility. Even though there's a bed, it may be in the wrong part that has the bed. So JDs are separated from JOs. AOs are mixed with JDs, and females, AOs and JDs can be mixed together. So it's monitored by the Commission of Corrections and OCFSS. That there's two monitoring agencies. That one monitors the juvenile side of it, and the other monitors. It's really considered an adult. The AO and AOs are considered adults, even though they're treated as juveniles.
Albany County was at the forefront
Yep.
on that.
Oh, yeah.
because
Regional
we were
Planning
sending
Commission.
our deputies out to Buffalo and Long Island. They were the closest juvenile secure detention centers that were around, so.
Mr. Chen
This
from the
saved us a lot of
Regional
money
Plan-
at the
Planning
facility.
Commission.
Do we usually get more than 7 whereby we don't have a bed for somebody?
It happens quite frequently, I'm afraid to say. The police may arrest a child in the after hours when no court's in session. And the way it's set up is that there are local magistrates designated as arraignment where the child can be arraigned, where he can be committed to facility, where the judge, that's the sitting AO judge. Currently, it's Judge Sherry Brooks. She runs the AO court. And if court's not in session, they have to take the youth to a accessible magistrate. And then they usually have to call the facility to find out if there's a bed. If there's no beds, then they have to start calling other facilities in New York State. There's 5 other facilities, and it's really difficult to get a child into that facility. And there are rules on timeliness when the kid has to be brought back to be arraigned in Albany. So if the youth is brought to Buffalo, it's significant resources. They have to send usually a patrol car with 2 officers. It's probably a 5 or 6 hour trip, and the youth has to be brought back the next day to be arraigned in Albany. It's a really difficult situation.
Is there can I ask one more question?
Go ahead.
Yeah, is there a situation whereby we can actually have like a center in Albany as opposed to Schenectady?
Well, the center is in Albany. It's right behind the jail. It's right, it's 840, the jail's 840 Albany Ship Road. I think the facility's 645. And it's kind of, you can see it through the tree line. It's kind of behind the airport, but it is housed in Colony,
I
yeah.
mean, so why can't we expand it
We are expanding it.
right now?
Yeah, we're in the process of everything, expanding it, and I don't think all the contracts are fully done yet, but the county executive office has been involved with this from the very beginning, and I think they're doubling the size of the facility.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well needed.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Unfortunately.
Karenini, may we have a motion? Motion, second? Motion's made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
All right, number 6 is local law K. Mr. Reedy's here this evening.
We're gonna table it?
No, that's J.
Oh, that's Jay.
Yep.
Okay, yes.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Reed,
Chairman.
go ahead.
Local law K is passed through committee in the public hearing now. It's a fairly straightforward measure. We did have a comment and a question last night in the law committee on how this law might apply to the Albany County Airport. So we're working to make sure that the law does not apply there, since people do bring weapons in for transport over the airways. Any potential confusion with TSA and that side of it. But beyond that, don't have any other amendments or changes planned here. I'm hoping you guys will pass this out with the recommendation and bring it to the floor.
We'll make that motion.
There's
May I
no
ask
questions?
a question?
Right.
Does the airport have metal detectors as well, or do you plan on having this applied to the airport? I know this question was asked last night, I think in,
I know the question was in terms of whether the law would apply to the airport, and that's what we're going to carve out.
This law does not require magnometers, however, the airport has them per FAA and TSA regulations, yes.
Not to enter downstairs, I hope so.
Yeah, to the secure areas of the airport.
in this building has them already, understand. What about the other county buildings? Do they have them as well?
Not all of them, but several of them do. Like Lawson's Lake does not.
Okay.
But mental health does, Department of Health does, I believe DSS does.
Are we gonna add more to other buildings?
Well, I mean, again, it's not required by this law,
No.
because this just bans them from entering, so we can criminalize it and follow up that way. We could certainly talk to the executive about any further magnometers that are needed or appropriate for, depending on the locations throughout the county.
Oh, no, this is-
Okay, any other questions? Okay, if there aren't any, may we have a motion? Motion, second? Motion is made and second, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you. I'm sorry, Gary, you have something? Gary?
This is K, this is the
Oh.
explosive ones.
Which one is it?
K,
Oh, okay.
this is for
Oh, I'm
weapons,
sorry,
a ban
yeah.
on weapons
Oh, my
and
colleague
explosives
out
in
here.
county
You're
buildings.
on the wrong one.
Oh, I was on that J.
Yeah.
No, you
Nope,
you have to leave your gun out of here.
That's tabled, sir.
Yep,
Thank you,
no,
Chairman.
I didn't hear that, sorry.
that's all right, we haven't said it
Okay,
yet.
all in favor of the motion?
For K, for local.
For K.
For K, yeah, we're on K.
Number 6.
Okay, so did we properly make the motion and second it?
We did.
Have we
Yeah, we're all
voted
set.
on it,
Yeah,
all in
we did.
favor?
We're all set.
Thank you.
All right, so item 2, local law B, has been tabled at the request of sponsor. Item 3 is public hearing on proposed local law M. Mr. Moriello is here.
Okay, so last month, the committee tabled this local law, and there were some concerns over really one section of the law which applied to county employees providing notices when they do in-home visits. And,
Yep.
so, what I did was I decided to remove that, and I reached out to Sheriff Apple and worked with him on amending this so that, I actually asked him questions. What do you feel you need, and what can we do to help address the illegal gun issue in Albany County? So I worked with him, and it took me a while to get this together, and that's why this didn't come out until late Friday afternoon. I made sure that I reviewed it with him, and he was good with this. So what we've done is, you heard what the sheriff said this evening. So, obviously, the illegal gun problem is a big issue in Albany County. So what you've got before you is, you've got the local law with the amendments in it. So what we normally do in the county is when we amend a law, we'll put brackets around the wording that is being struck, and we'll underline the new language of the law. So, as an example, on the first page, section 3, on the old law said, notice required home visit, any home visit conducted by a Department of Aging and so on. That all has been struck. We took that out altogether. So I also, obviously, I don't know if people have seen this or not, but 2 days ago, our district attorney also sent out a press release concerning illegal guns, and I wanted to hand this out as well to everyone, so you saw this. So you heard the sheriff this evening, and you see this press release that was handed out by the Attorney General. So let me address the changes.
District Attorney.
District Attorney, I'm sorry. Let me address the changes that have been made to local law M. First of all, the notice will remain on here, so we will put notices in all county buildings. It's a warning about illegal guns are used in the majority of gun-based crimes in New York State, and so on and so on. You can read this. And what we want people to understand is that they can surrender or voluntarily surrender a gun without any ramifications. You call the sheriff's department, they'll come and pick it up, and you will not get in any trouble for doing so. The sheriff also had suggested an illegal gun tip line, which his department will run, and will establish an illegal accounting tip line for the purpose of receiving and disseminating information regarding illegally possessed firearms in Albany County communities. So I asked them a question about this, and I said, well, what if I were to call and say that someone has an illegal firearm in their possession? How would you handle that? Would you just immediately approach them? And he said, no, what they will do is they'll build a case. And if it's someone that has never been in trouble, they have never had any issues with, they'll look into it. They probably approach that person at some point and talk to them. If it's someone that does have a history with the department or any other police agency in the county, then obviously they'll be a little more aggressive in making their case. And so, this isn't somebody that's going to just storm someone's house after a phone call saying that they
You still
haven't
need a
done.
warrant for that.
Yes, you still need a warrant for that, absolutely. There's also a gun locking device program. So the sheriff's department does a lot of outreach in the community. As you can see, he was talking about the truck or treat. I mean, they're out at fairs, they do fire department open houses and such, and a number of ways that the sheriff's department is out there. And what he suggested is that we provide them with gun locking devices. And these can be handed out free of charge to people so that they can lock up their guns. And and I'll get to the cost of all this as well. The third thing is a gun buyback program. I understand in Albany, there's a gun buyback program that occurs like twice a year. So this would be 365 days a year, where people can call the sheriff's department, they can surrender their gun. We will give them a reward of $200 for a semi-automatic pistol or revolver, and $150 for all their types of firearms like long guns. I asked him how many guns he thought we would collect in a year, and well, he said with the current gun buyback program, they've had some successes and some days not so successful. And there have been times when they've received 5 guns, and other times they've received 30. So what we did, we funded this. So as you can see, it's really taken about 100 guns is what we're going to do. We're going to see how this works. So with the original legislation, there was minimal cost, but this obviously now is going to cost the county a little bit more to implement this law. So the impact statement is on the last page of the law that I gave you that has the cleaned up language.
Which, so this is the red line?
That's the one that has the language that would be struck. This is the clean language that has exactly what's in the law now.
This is nothing?
That's the old one. That would be the old.
The two print versions are the same. One is just with brackets and underlines, one is clean without it.
Right. So the clean one was easier for people to read, and I was trying to make it less confusing for everyone if I just
I'm just a confused
released
guy.
it.
I'm always confused. Like I'm looking at 3 different ones, and I'm saying, this is the...
So,
Okay, get rid of the computer thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the paper
let's go
copies
on.
are the ones to go with right now.
Okay.
right,
And then I was trying to figure out which is which here, so I got it now.
okay.
Thank you.
So projected cost for the implementation is $30,900 for the initial implementation, which includes $10,900 for any future purchase of gun locking devices. And then $20,000 is used for the gun buyback program, which will pay for 100 pistols or 133 other firearms or some combination thereof. So again, $10,900 for the locking devices, $20,000 is for the buyback. And you can see the method of financing this. So, the sheriff spoke this evening. Our DA sent out a press release concerning illegal guns. It's an issue in our community. We're looking for some way to address it. And so what I'd like to do is pass this out, have this go out. Yes, that's another thing. Yes, thank you for bringing that up. The guns have to be operational. New York State did this, and there was someone that submitted some ghost guns and other guns that were not operational. And it says in here that they do have to be operational. And that person made $21,000 on the state for submitting gun parts. So yes, the guns do have to be operational.
So, Mr. Chairman, just a quick comment. This did pass out of law, however, there was a modification because there was a discussion on whether the term illegal firearms should be defined or to change the legislation. Change the legislation would become just complicated and bog it down. So it was, the law committee requested that council, the various councils get together and provide an added definition of illegal firearm, which would probably be keyed into section 265 of the penal law. And that would be the only change to add that, so it's clear if somebody wanted to know if a firearm is illegal or not, they could just look at the penal law. And if the penal law changes, it'll change with it. We don't have to change this legislation every time something tweaks at the state level.
And I think in connection with that, there may have also been a discussion, and I don't recall the end result, there's a sort of definition of illegal gun in the warning itself. There was some conversation about possibly removing that in lieu of, or when the illegal gun definition is put in, just because that only limits it to 2 options for being illegal, whereas there are a variety of options or ways that a gun can be illegal in New York currently. Yeah, that was the only other thing we discussed.
Tweaks in that regard.
Fine, go ahead, sorry.
Just a quick question. So I thank you for putting this together, but is there a fiscal impact for the helpline itself?
There is no cost to that. The sheriff said there's no cost to that. He'll maintain that.
That's
So the new public hearing will be on, amended.
On the amended, correct.
Frank, the last discussion we had about this, I don't know if it was last public safety or it was in budget somewhere. It must have been the public safety meeting. There was an issue about when a legal gun owner, when he or she comes into the house, they must secure the,
That's local law J.
Right, that's.
Jay.
That's tabled.
Yes, table,
When I was
okay.
on, Bill.
That's what he was looking
There's a
for.
lot of gun laws right now.
Everybody wants to jump on that.
I just don't wanna lock up my gun.
Well, no, these, you know, we're
We're with
providing,
you, Bill.
we're
Jay,
providing
public hearing
locks. So if you want to take a lock, if you do own a gun
Yes.
and you want to take a lock free of charge, you know, you can lock up your gun at home if you'd like. I mean, you know, I understand your point of view and I agree with you 100%. But, I mean, we'll provide the locks if people want to use them.
Okay, any other questions?
So are we
Gary?
voting on the public hearing?
Yes.
Yes.
This is just to move out the public hearing.
Okay.
Now,
Patty?
the discussion, is the discussion over? I'll make a motion to put it up for a public hearing.
I'll
With a
second.
favorable recommendation.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with public
All
hearing.
right?
Okay, there's a motion on the floor and a second, I believe.
Yep.
To release the resolutions for a public hearing. Is there, can I get a motion to, or second?
Vote.
Aye.
John,
Just need to vote.
Excuse me?
Call vote.
Oh, she says I need to just call all in favor.
Aye.
All in favor. You know, this gun thing gets me a little nervous.
All right. Then,
That's right, I'm a former
Just
law
one?
enforcement officer.
Item-
Don't-
item.
But anyway,
We have 2 items left. Item 5 is local law J, that is tabled at the request of the sponsor, Mr. Reedy. And then item 7 is local law M, that's the local law itself, so that's tabled pending public hearing. And that is the end of the agenda.
okay,
Motion adjourned.
motion, maybe have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you so much.
You know that, right, Bill?
Huh?